Hi guys, welcome back. Another tutorial today where we're going to be making this navigation menu. So you've got this kind of minimal layout here, and when we hover this toggle button here, we get our nav appear with that gradual fading effect for each of our links. When we hover our links, you can see they move to the right slightly as well. So yeah, it's a pretty just minimal kind of clean navigation. I kind of like this kind of fading effect for each of the links. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, guys, and let's get going. Cheers. Okay, guys, so to begin, we've got the three usual files, index.html, get a boilerplate up and running, and then I'm just going to copy over from one I've already made earlier just to make this a bit faster. Okay, so the first one we're going to do in the body, we've got a header section with a h2 embedded with a class of logo, and then text with logo and a full stop. That can be like a company logo, anything you want. Then underneath this, we're going to do a div with a class of welcome, and this just includes two header tags with our message saying welcome to our website, and this could be whatever you want here, just saying please click on the menu toggle for now, and then within this one welcome div. Okay, and then under this we're going to do our menu toggle. Okay, so this is where the user is going to click to open up the nav menu. So div class men toggle and two span elements within this div. Okay, then come underneath this, we're going to next create our actual nav bar or menu. So here's our nav tag here with a class of menu. And within this nav, we've got a header section like we did above here with a class of logo nav. And this is just basically going to have the same logo but with a white text, as this is going to be a dark nav. Okay, and then we're also going to have a toggle button with menu close with two span elements. And it's going to form like a cross shape just to close the nav menu. And then we have this UL unordered list here containing multiple list elements, each with anchor tags embedded. Each of these anchor tags have a class of nav link, and then our active link is for this home one here. So this is the page that the user is currently on. We're going to give the nav link a class of active link as well, okay, because we want to highlight that in a white color. And then, yeah, I've just done href to the hashtags so they don't go anywhere, about, project, shop, contact, and blog. Okay, and then in the body here, we just want to do a script source, and that's going to be our app.js file, like so. And then we also want to link to our style.css in the header. So now, if you open this in live server, you'll see there's our template there. Okay, so it looks pretty ugly at the moment. We need to do some CSS, get it all laid out nicely. So that's what we'll do next. That's it for our HTML there. Okay, so in our style.css, let's first we'll sort out the globals. So as usual, just use a star to select the global settings. I've set the margin to 0, padding to 0, box size in border box. And then we're going to add this font family of Poppins sans serif, okay? And then you can see we've got rid of our margins and everything there. What I also need to do now is just get this Poppins font from Google, okay? And what I'm going to do, open that up. I'll go down to this regular 400, select this style. We'll embed that, copy that link over, and then we'll just paste that in the header of our index.html file. Okay, so now you can see when I press save here, we get that nice new font. Okay, go back to our style.css. The next one I want to select is the header. Okay, so that's where this logo here is currently sitting. What we're going to do, say header, position relative, we want it to be a width of 100% to fill the page. We want to give this a height of 6 rem. Okay, so you can see our header's got a height of 6 rem and it fills 100% of the screen. Underneath this, I just want to adjust the position of the logo, so this element here. So that you can see now our logo, we've positioned it to the bottom of the header, parent header element, and we've spaced it left 12% just to give it a bit of white space on the side of the page here. I've positioned the absolute as well, just position it relative to the parent element, which is the header tag here. Okay, and now menu toggle. So remember we're selecting .menu toggle here. And we're going to give that a position of fixed want it to be for top about 45 viewport heights from the page, so it'll be around the middle of the page here, left of 3%. So the menu tool is going to sit here, okay? And then we want it to give a width of 2 rem, a height of 1 rem. Just to show you what this looks like, if I give this now a background of red, you can see that's where our menu toggle is going to be, okay? And when we hover it, we want a cursor of pointer as well, you can see that. Display flex, this is what we're going to be using to display our span elements within this menu toggle div. And we want to display them in a column, okay? So let's get these now. Let's just do so I've got the menu toggle here, and we're selecting our span elements now, so the nth child of 1. I want to give that a width of 70% with a height of 2 pixels, background color of black, and we're going to transition 0.5 seconds. This is just when we click on it, or when we hover it, we want to give it a bit of navigation, animation, okay? And then you'll see when we do menu toggle hover span, we want it to be increased to 100% width, okay? So you'll see now when we hover, you can see that that span element grows when we hover, okay? I'm just going to remove that red background for now because that looks horrible. And then kind of underneath this, let's select our second span element within that div. So I've done menu toggle, span, nth child 2 to select the second span element. And again, we want a width of 100%, height of 2 pixels, background color black. Okay, so now you can see we have our menu toggle there. You can see we get that top one increases when we hover it. So that's looking good. Next thing I want to do is just so select this welcome section. Okay, I want to position this text here. So let's do that now. Go underneath here in our CSS, do dot welcome. Again, position relative, 25 viewport heights from the top, left 12%, the same as our logo, so it lines up. Then font size of 1.4 rem. Okay, so that's what that's looking like now. Ignore this logo part. This is going to be featured within our actual navbar when it's displayed. Okay, so come underneath here, sub. What that does, you'll see here, I've got this H1 with a class of sub here, and that just makes this text a grey colour as opposed to black. Okay, so now let's work on the menu. Okay, so kind of underneath here, we're going to select our nav element, and that's going to have a position of fixed and a width of 100% to fill the page, a height of 100 viewport heights to fill the actual full length of the page as well, left of 0 to start at the top corner, and when the menu's not active, we want it to be above the page, so we don't want to see it. Okay, so I've just set the top to minus 100 viewport heights for now, so it will come down from the top. And we want to give this a background color of 1717, which is like this dark, really dark, nearly black color. A transition of 0.2 seconds, that's how fast we want the nav bar or the nav menu to appear when we click on the toggle button. Okay, so for example, if I just set this to 0 for now, you'll see that's what our menu color looks like. But if we just put that to minus 100 VH again. Okay, and now we're going to do nav active. Okay, underneath this is when we apply the active class to this nav, which we're going to do with JavaScript in a second. And there you'll see when the nav is active, we set the top to 0, just like we did a minute ago, and a transition of 0.2 seconds. Okay, so as I'm editing this, I just want to, let's just comment that out, just so you can see what's happening with the editing here. So if we come under here, I'm just going to now position our logo nav to the same position as our actual logo on the actual main page. Okay, come underneath this, do logo nav, position absolute, color white, bottom 0, left 12%. Okay, so that positions it in the same as our previous logo. And then come underneath this, let's now position this actual unordered list of links we have here. Okay, so nav UL, we're going to position this absolute, left 12% again to line it up with the logo, list style of none, let's just get this. You can see here now, I position it top 20%, giving it a height of 55%, and then we're displaying flex and flex direction of columns, so the links appear underneath each other, and then we're justifying the content space between just to even them out nicely. Okay, and then that list style none, we'll just get rid of those bullet points like so. And then kind of underneath this, I want to select the nav link. And here again, we're doing position relative, okay? And we're doing relative because when we hover these links, we want them to slightly move to the right, okay? And we want to give these links a color of this gray color here, left of 0, text decoration of none to remove the underlining, font size of 2.5 rem to make it a bit bigger, transition of 0.5 seconds, you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. And for now, we're just give them an opacity of 0 to make them see-through. Because when we click on the nav, we want them to appear gradually, okay? Let's get rid of that for now. So that's what the links look like for the moment. Okay, and then I'm going to say nav link. So when these links are active, we're going to make them appear again. So opacity of 1, transition of 0.5 seconds. So they gradually fade in, like so. And then come underneath this, we're going to select our nav link when it's active. And then we're going to, when we hover, we want the color to be white, okay? And then we want to move the link to the left by 10%, okay? So it moves to the right slightly. And again, giving this a transition of 0.5 seconds to give it that kind of animation. Okay, and then we want our active link to always be white. So you'll see now our home, which we give the class of active link. Here, you'll see that's now white compared to the other links, okay? Okay, now kind of underneath this, we want to do menu close. This is going to be our close toggle within our nav menu. We're going to position at absolute. Again, top 45 viewport height from the page. Left of 2 pixels, 2%, sorry, width of 2 rem, height of 1 rem, cursor pointer. So when you hover it, you can see here we get our pointer. And then display flex, flex direction column again, just like with our nav bar, and justify content space around. Okay, and then what we're going to do here, obviously you can't see this toggle button for now. We need to do the CSS on the with span elements which are included. So we'll do that now. I'll do menu close dot span, and here we're going to position the span elements absolute to the parent element. We'll say top 50%, left 50%. Transform, translate, -50% to get them central to the div. Going to give them both a width of 70%, a height of 2 pixels, and a background color of white, okay? And then now we need to rotate our 2 span elements. So to do that, we're going to use the nth child method again. Do manual close, span, nth child of 1 and nth child of 2. You can see here what I've done with the first child is rotate it 45 degrees, and with the second child, I've rotated it -45 degrees, so now we get this cross appear, okay? You see when we hover it, we get a slight opacity here as well of 0.6, which is what's happening when we're hovering our menu close element. Okay, and that's pretty much it for our CSS, guys. Now what we need to do is just do the JavaScript. Let's do that now. So if we go into our app.js file, the first thing I'm going to do is my selectors, okay? So let's just do that now. You see what I'm doing here. I've got my menu toggle, and that's going to be the actual, what else I want to do, sorry. If I go back to our style.css, I want to make that now top -100, okay? Okay, so yeah. So now when we press, what we do here in our app.js, we've got our menu toggle element, which is this button here. We've got our menu close, which is the cross within our nav bar, which we made earlier. And then we've got our menu, okay, which is the actual navigation section. We've given a class of menu here. Okay, so if we also come underneath this, I also want to select all the nav links within our menu. Okay, so to do that, we're just going to say let nav links equals array.from, and you'll see what I'm doing array.from just to show you. I'll just do this for now. If I did select all, query selector all dot nav link, and if I console dot log nav links, open up our console here, you'll see we actually get a node list, okay, And what we want to do is convert that to an array so we can perform like a for each JavaScript function on. So what I'm going to do here is just say array.from, and then we'll wrap this part in that array.from method. And now you can see when we save it, we actually get an array of our nav links, which we can we can add effects to with JavaScript. Okay. So now kind of underneath this, that's it for our selectors. I'm just going to add two event listeners to our menu toggle and our menu close variables here. So when we click on the menu toggle, which is this button here, we're going to say menu toggle click, and that's going to trigger a function called open menu, which we're going to create in a second. And the same with the menu close toggle, we're going to say when we click on this element, we want to trigger the close menu function, okay, which we're going to make. So now I'll come underneath this, let's do our open menu function first. Okay, and then in here we're going to say menu.classList.add, and then we're going to say active, like so. Okay, and then so now you'll see, if we do that, you'll see now we get our active menu appear. Okay, so that's working. Now what we want to do, kind of underneath this, is we're going to say navlinks.forEach. Okay, so we're going to loop through each of our nav links, and we're going to say, what we're going to do here is going to pass in the actual link itself, and then we're going to pass in the index, okay, of the actual nav link, because we want to do set timeout, and we're going to trigger the set timeout based on the index. Okay, so that's what this for each method does. It passes in the actual element as well as the index of the element. Okay, and then coming in here, so we're going to do an arrow function next. And here we're just going to say set timeout. Okay, and then this is going to trigger another function. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry, guys. Okay, and then in here we're just going to say link. So we're taking that link we passed in, and we're going to say class list dot add. I'm going to add another active class to each of our links as well. Okay, and then what we're going to do here is after this curly bracket for the set timeout function, we're going to take that index which we passed in, and we're going to times that by 100. Okay, so for each, what's happening here, for each of our nav link elements, so the first element, the index is 1. Okay, so it's going to take that 1 and times it by 100. So it will take 1000 milliseconds to apply it to the first link, and then the second element is going to take 2000 milliseconds to apply the active class to the second link. Okay, that's what it's doing there. So you'll see we should get an effect now. Haven't got it yet. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we need to change that opacity to 0. Okay, come back to nav link and change the opacity to 0. So now when we open the link, you can see we get the gradual fade in. Okay, and you can see also when we hover our links, they move to the right slightly. Okay, now what we need to do is just do the close function. So when we click on this, it closes our menu because nothing's happening at the moment. So I'm just going to copy that over actually just to make it quicker. Come underneath here, you'll see function close menu, and here what this does, we take our menu again, class this, and this time we're removing the active class. Okay, and then what else we're doing here is we're doing another set timeout, and we're going to say nav link. So we're selecting all of our nav link elements for each link, and we're just going to remove the class of active. Okay, so it makes all the links see-through again, and we're going to make that just a really quick 100 milliseconds. And the reason why we're doing that, you'll see, is now when we reopen it, we always get the same effect. If we didn't include this set timeout, you'll see we don't get the effect anymore. So we need to remove that active class. So now it'll always appear when we reopen the menu. Okay, So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That's just a pretty clean, minimal navigation menu. Yeah, I think it's looks quite stylish. So I hope you enjoyed. Another thing as well, it also works okay. Obviously, this text doesn't look great, but on a mobile, if I just do like an iPhone X, it doesn't look too bad. Obviously, you probably need to adjust it a little bit, but it looks, yeah, I mean, obviously this text doesn't look great, but yeah, just a few adjustments and that'll look good. So yeah, I hope you enjoy, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.